This week on the Movies and Stuff show, we're going to talk some Star Wars convention, we're going to talk some Comic-Con movie trailers, and then we're going to do a roundtable discussion on Star Trek Beyond. Stay tuned. And welcome once again to the Movies and Stuff show. My name is Dan, and joining me always, my co-host Abe.
Hey, what's up?
We got two other guys joining us this week. We got Mr. Marty.
Good evening, everybody.
And Shaun.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Going well. So I think in the teaser I mentioned we're going to talk some things. We're going to talk some Star Wars, talk some Comic-Con. Then the main part of the show, roundtable discussion on Star Trek Beyond. So it really is just like, it's a pure geek show, right? Star Trek, Star Wars, Comic-Con. We've gone full geek.
And we have.
Always go full geek.
Yeah. Well, never go partial geek. Always go full geek. Let's start off with some Star Wars convention stuff. Marty was in London a couple weeks back and then attended the Star Wars convention there. And I was joking with him the other day. It's the happiest I've ever seen him. The biggest smile on his face ever. Him taking a photo with Mr. Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's as a Star Wars fan, it's probably just the best. It's the greatest experience you'll ever have. It's just 3 days. You're in this little tight-knit Star Wars community. You got all types of panels, all types of different people selling things, all types of... there was a whole row of people doing Star Wars tattoos. There's things set up for the kids. So, I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan, it's really nothing can compare. It's like a whole Comic-Con, but just Star Wars. So it's really experience. I've never been to a convention on that level. I've never been to a Comic-Con, not even in New York. So just to be in that community, immerse myself in Star Wars for an entire weekend was really an experience. I can't say enough about, really. So as a fan, it was an amazing experience. I can't lie. If you're someone who's looking for movie news, though, it was not the biggest event that people were thinking it would be. A lot of people going in were thinking we're going to get some information on Episode 8. We're going to get a big trailer on Rogue One, at least. We're going to get some news on new movies coming out in the future. Really didn't get a lot of that. Biggest thing that came out of it was more Star Wars geek culture stuff. The biggest panel of the weekend was really the Star Wars Rebels panel, which if you're a Star Wars fan, you were blown away by. I was there myself. I loved it. They had shown to a couple new episodes. They announced that a character that people were from the old extended universe that people weren't sure coming back was Grand Admiral Thrawn. So, and when they put him up on screen, the whole crowd goes nuts. But I threw out a Twitter, on the movies page saying, wow, the big news, Thrawn's back. It really was not moving the needle that much. So I think going forward, Star Wars and Disney really have to decide if they want this convention to be a big news-breaking, platform for them, or they just want it to be a thing for the fans, which if it's a thing for the fans, 10 out of 10. I mean, they do everything for you. A weekend's worth of panels on every topic you want. You can, get your autographs. You can get your pictures. It's a perfect experience on that level. But if they want to break, because they weren't even at Comic-Con, you'll notice last week. So if they don't want to be part of Comic-Con and they want to start doing their own thing, they're going to have to start breaking more news on a movie level, I think, if they want to get on that stage. Because the only thing that came out movie-wise, Rogue One, they did show a trailer, but they only showed it to people there. And it wasn't even a full trailer. It was a minute and a half. There's some leaked footage online, but not a lot. And they showed a 3-minute featurette on Rogue One, which is great, and a lot of people loved it, but it wasn't really, the people, they were expecting a trailer, so when you go in expecting one thing and you get just a featurette, people loved it there, but it didn't get the big, Star Wars Celebration 2 years ago, they showed the Force Awakens trailer, and the place goes nuts. This time, it was, people were excited, but it was just a kind of like, golf clap situation almost. So that's kind of this. When you're hearing some reviews that people who were there, people that I was with loved it, came back thrilled. But when I came back and started reading up on what people thought, reading some of the other reviews, people were upset that there wasn't a lot of big level news that came out of the event.
Right. And you would figure though is since they weren't a part of Comic-Con that they would try to do that. They would try to kind of steal the thunder of Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I mean, they're Disney. They can do whatever the hell they want. They should be having their own Comic-Con. They should be having their own news. I mean, I'm surprised that they haven't even just pulled out the I mean, well, they didn't really. We'll get into that in a little bit. They didn't really do much on the Marvel front in regards to trailers and stuff like that came out of Comic-Con either. So I just.
Yeah, they did a lot for you if you were there, but they didn't show anything outside of that, really. So, but even that, when you're talking about Disney too, though, do they want to put a lot of Star Wars stuff out, knowing that next week we're putting out a lot of Marvel stuff? So that's kind of the thing where they have, they know they're gonna make their money with Star Wars. Rogue One, they still have 5 months or so to build that up still. So they probably they're still focusing more on, say, Doctor Strange and stuff like that. So they kind of want to. That's the thing now, but that's all part of Disney. They have their own priorities for every department, so they can't just focus on Star Wars or Marvel at this point. So Disney has their own convention as well, which is every 2-year thing, which is a D23. Which I think if they start doing that every year, then Comic-Con's going to have a real issue because they probably won't send anything to Comic-Con.
Right.
So it's going to be an interesting. And there were a lot of complaints that I heard online about the Star Wars was 1 week, and then Comic-Con was the next week. So I can't imagine a lot of people would have tried to do both, but you really couldn't do both if you wanted. So if they want to put it right next to it, they're trying to say they're competing. So if you're going to compete with Comic-Con right that close, they might have to step their game up as far as movie news and news that's not just for the Star Wars really super fan that knows all about, because the best stuff that came out of the convention really was, like I said, the cartoon. There was a lot of cool book information and stuff like that. So that's Star Wars fans eat that stuff up. But if you're trying to get the major audience, big audience to come and cover your event, you're going to need movie stuff and bigger stars on that level.
Shaun, you're a huge Star Wars fan, right?
Yeah,
You happen to have a tattoo of a certain Star Wars character, right?
I do.
Yeah. Have you ever done any conventions? You ever
I actually
into anything?
have. No, I've never done it. Always meant to, but I always wanted to do if I ever did one, I probably would have done a horror one. But I've never done Comic-Con, and I think now it's probably too big for me. I like the whole, pageantry of it. I think maybe it would be cool, but it sounds like a good way to separate you from your money. Too, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I did see Marty's picture on his Twitter, and that is an awesome, awesome picture. And Marty did have a big smile on his face.
Biggest smile. I've known this guy for years. Is the happiest I've ever seen him.
Hey man, congratulations! That's great.
I mean, that was the coolest part. I say it didn't cost me a few dollars. Mark Hamill was the most expensive person to get your picture with, but I figured, I'm flying all the way to London. I got to meet Luke Skywalker on some level. And he was just the nicest guy. I mean, he had the biggest crowd, obviously, for his pictures. There wasn't a lot of new people there, I was surprised. It was mostly the old cast. I saw a panel with Anthony Daniels, who was really funny. Carrie Fisher did a panel. There was a lot of R2-D2 stuff there. Kenny Baker was there as well. Peter Mayhew was there. My girlfriend took a picture with him. He was great. So it was still, I think, starting next year, they're going to have to start focusing more on the new cast to keep this thing going. But this was a great kind of nostalgic feel. They showed Force Awakens again in front of the big audience, which is really fun. So it was like I said, it's really, for a Star Wars fan, as great of experience as you can have. So if it's ever, if you're really into Star Wars and if it comes to your area, you don't have to fly to London like I did, like a crazy person. But it's going to be in Orlando next year, which will probably be huge because they'll tie it into Disneyland. So it's something, if you're a real fan, and it's, like you said, Comic-Con's becoming too much at this point. So if you can find these kind of specialty conventions that really focus on stuff you love, it's worth the expense.
Well, it sounds fun to go to SynergyCon. We have a couple questions in the chat.
Oh, cool.
Amanda wants to know, Shaun, is your tattoo, is it of Wicket?
Wow.
And Robert Melee, do you want to show him your tattoo, or you just want to tell him? Darth.
Yep.
There you go.
A guy there who was from Brooklyn, so it was weird enough. he had a tattoo of the Star of David, but it was all lightsabers. So
I thought you were going to go Death Star of David because that would have been even cooler.
That would have been awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
He also had that Hand of God's tattoo you see sometimes praying. He had that one with C-3PO's hands. So he was an interesting guy.
Well, that's from Brooklyn, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Next question. Robert Maley had a question.
Marty, is your shirt from DisneyCon?
It is not DisneyCon. It's called Star Wars Celebration, and you can see it right there. Thank you.
Whoa, he's getting a little snobby right here on us.
And the delay's not helping. His video delay is not helping because we're seeing his shirt much after than he's trying to show it to us. Let's talk about some Comic-Con stuff. We'll get into. We briefly talked about it. A lot of stuff came out of Comic-Con trailer wise. It seemed Marvel was kind of reserved in regards to what they put out. It almost seemed like the DC show at this Comic-Con. You had the Justice League trailer that came out. You had the Wonder Woman trailer that came out. And had some other stuff that came out as well. You had the Skull Island trailer that broke. I guess there was some, news or just some kind of clips. And I think Marty was saying that for the Marvel side of things, there was more stuff for the people that attended, not a lot of stuff that got released after the fact. I got to see like the fancy, I guess the color scheme for Thor Ragnarok for their movie poster. And how it pretty much echoes the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 poster. I mean, same color scheme. I don't know. But
riveting. Just fucking riveting.
The stuff that did come out, I saw the Justice League trailer.
Yeah.
Overall, I enjoyed it. I think it had some really good stuff in it. I'm a little concerned about it based off of the levity of the trailer and how BVS was so criticized for being so moody and how it needs to be funnier. So we'll see how that plays out. The trailer did play a little bit funnier. Skull Island looked like a pretty cool trailer. The one that I loved the most though was that Wonder Woman trailer. I thought the Wonder Woman trailer looked great. I think it almost tapped into the similar kind of feel of that first Captain America movie. I think that was kind of, tapping into that seriousness in a way, but it also had a lightness to it that didn't seem too, over the top like BBS got hammered for. Abe, what about you? Anything you like from these trailers? Anything from Comic-Con?
I actually thought the Final Fantasy animated movie looked pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. I want to see that. What else did come on, Train Spotting 2, the teaser. I think that looks interesting too.
And TV show, right?
Yeah, The American Gods. I don't even know if that was at Comic-Con. I just know it came out around the same time, so it had to be at Comic-Con. That is Neil Gaiman's best book. I mean, like, it's better than Neil Gaiman has any right to be. It's that good. And this TV show, I can't fucking wait. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Now, Shaun, you were saying before the show you didn't really catch a lot of the stuff that came out of Comic-Con.
I actually just watched the Wonder Woman and Justice League without sound, and I would say the Wonder Woman got me the most. I mean, I like you said, the Captain America. This is World War I, right?
Yeah.
And trench warfare and stuff like that. It looks like a good production value and stuff like that. With her running around with the lasso, it seemed a little bit odd, but it looks like it should be good. She looks good on screen. He signed me up for that one. Chris Pine, I find him an entertaining actor, so sign
Might
me up.
talk
for
about
Wonder
him
Woman.
a little bit later, right?
I was thinking that, yeah. See how it
Nice
all
tie-in.
ties in a little bit. So, sign me up for Wonder Woman and Justice League. I'll probably maybe see it. But the Wonder Woman looked better to me, I think. But there was no sound again.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate that you multitask.
Yeah.
Preparing for the show while the show is going on. I'll take it. Marty, what about you? Anything that you saw?
I mean, I like all the DC stuff. I was surprised with the Justice League trailer. That's, I mean, almost over a year. To see anything on that was pretty fun. I think DC kind of had to start showing us stuff because they still need to build some goodwill after BVS. Marvel can stand on their laurels at this point. They don't have to share everything, but they still kind of took all the news away, even though they didn't show anything. They showed the crowd Guardians of the Galaxy. They showed the crowd Thor. They showed the crowd whole Black Panther cast, which just got people excited. So without even showing anything, they kind of got all the buzz that DC had the day before. So they still got people looking forward to their stuff. The Doctor Strange trailer, they did show to everybody, which I don't know about you guys. I'm not sure how big an audience this one's going to get. It looked a little trippy. It's a little Inception-y, which I love, but not a lot of people, get. Sometimes to mix that world with a superhero might be too much. Kong Skull Island, outside of the comic book stuff, was looked great. Great cast. John Goodman and Samuel Jackson look really cool. Brie Larson, who also got announced as Captain Marvel over there, so she had a big weekend. Tom Hiddleston, looked really cool. And two ones that I didn't really like were the two old school remake ones that I saw were Ben-Hur, that looked
that looks
crap,
horrible. Yeah.
and then the King with King Arthur's, was it the
Oh yeah,
Guy Ritchie?
Guy Ritchie. Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
I was watching the trailer like, wow, this looks like Sherlock Holmes, and boom, directed by Guy Ritchie. Like, well, there you go. So those two movies look like another more bad remakes, but the comic book stuff was really cool. Kong looked really great, so a lot of stuff to be excited for on that front.
Yeah, I think I agree with you about the Doctor. I'm interested in seeing the Doctor Strange thing because again, I think it's in my wheelhouse more so than a lot of these other Marvel films. But I don't know how big of a draw it's going to have. It's
not going to be a summer thing too. It's going to be one of their November movies,
Yeah.
which usually don't make much money. So there's not as much pressure either, so it could do well.
But that one has Mads Mikkelsen in it, and you were talking about Star Wars
Yeah,
before,
great cast.
and Mads Mikkelsen, of course, he's in Rogue One, and
Rogue
his
One.
his brother was the one who was announced as the voice of Thrawn. Right?
So
Yeah,
if they ever bring him into the movies, that'd be pretty.
that'd be
Fun.
pretty cool. Of course, he looks like Nightcrawler, so
He's a blue guy, but I didn't read a lot of that old extended universe, but from everything I saw, what people read and say they got him pretty much down to a T, and they're writing new books with the same writer who wrote the old book, so they're going to continue the canon in the same way, it seems.
Abe, are you fairly familiar with any of the Star Wars books at all, or no?
I read those first three just the first three that ever came out, and that's it.
Yeah,
The Shadows
that's
of the Empire stuff, yeah. Extended universe stuff usually doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. So,
Well, the cool thing now is that everything they put out now is all canon and it's all ties into the movies and some, but you don't have to read them to enjoy the movies. But if you read them, you pick up on little things that kind of advance your experience. So it's fun for fans, but it's nothing.
yeah, I'm not disputing that it's not fun, but yeah,
it's kind of like how if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you pick up on things in the movies, but you'll never have to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to enjoy the Marvel movies.
Thank Christ.
Abe doesn't really enjoy the Marvel movies anyway, so
No.
That's
Yeah.
all right. I think we've covered enough Comic-Con stuff. So let's move on to the main topic of this week. We're talking about Star Trek Beyond, and normally we start off by talking about our movie-going experience. Screw that. No.
we know you went to your local theater.
I
man.
went to my local theater. I honestly I want to really just get into this because I really enjoyed Star Trek 2009, JJ's reboot of the series. I did. I thought it was a very fun film. I like the way that they were able to restart the series and explain how they can create new content now that doesn't have to conflict with the original storylines. I thought that was a great way to do it. I was, excited that they were going to make another one, and then when that other one ended up being Into Darkness, I said, I hope they never make another one of these again. I was done with it. I was done with watching Star Trek after that, which was kind of a shame. What they did to poor Zachary Quinto and Spock and Into Darkness, just tore me apart. Just the destruction of a beloved character like that was enough to just almost just I'm done. And then the trailers started coming out for Star Trek Beyond. That first trailer, I said to Abe, I'm like, this is going to be terrible. This is a disaster. This is going to be worse than Into Darkness. I was dreading the worst. And then they put out a second trailer, and I'm like, huh, okay, maybe this has a chance of being somewhat good. And I walked out of it, and I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed the film. I really had a fun time. It was just a fun movie going experience. Far from a perfect film. We'll get into that. I laughed a good amount. I think the stuff with Spock and McCoy, just amazing. Like, just worked so well. And I don't know. That was kind of my feeling on it. Abe, I feel you are the resident Star Trekky guy, the one that has watched the most Star Trek and has followed Star Trek for the longest. I feel that your opinion on this matters more so than mine. What did you think of it?
Well, not just on this topic, but let's just.
Well,
yeah. No, actually, I really enjoyed it. I'm right with you. This is the best of the new Treks, hands down. I feel like, man, I'm going to tiptoe around something dangerous here. It might be the most pure Star Trek movie, aside from the motion picture, ever.
wow.
It is 1960s Star Trek on the big screen. It's, an away mission that goes horribly wrong. Everybody's split up, and they're all trying to, solve the problem. I really think that it is it's probably the pure Star Trek in feel we've gotten in a long time.
Is it your favorite out of this recent?
Oh, yeah.
3? Yeah.
Yeah. It's this 09 Into Darkness. Yeah. And you said it's far from a perfect film, and I got to agree with you. I went to see it on, it was Limax 3D. Hard to read some of the action sometimes. Either too
Yes, I was going to say that. It was very dark in that first.
very dark. Dark, and then in 3D, very hard to tell what was going on. Yeah,
I saw it in 3D as well, and I didn't know if that was just my theater or if the 3D, but a lot of very dark. Whenever it was in space, or that first half movie is at night, and that when they land, and you couldn't tell who was who a lot of the time.
No.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any of the Fast and Furious films at all, so I didn't know really what to expect. I mean, other than the trailers, some of the action sequences were kind of disjointed, kind of frenetic, a little, for me, like tough to like, well, what the hell's going on here? Ultimately, I enjoyed it. Ultimately, I thought the effects and everything, some of the sequences, the fight sequences and action sequences worked really well. Shaun, what are your general thoughts on the film? Did you like it? What did you think?
Well, to be honest, I would not have ever gone to the movies to see this unless Abe texted me and said, "Dude, can you do us a favor?" And I was on vacation, and I said, "Yeah, I'll go." So I think that might have helped me enjoy the movie as much as I did. I did enjoy it. It was a fun flick, it was a fun sci-fi flick. Unfortunately, I saw it in 3D, and for me, the 3D effects ranged from really fucking annoying to pretty spectacular. Like, I just want to say, like, the first time you see Yorktown, fucking my jaw dropped a little bit, and that was something I didn't get from The Force Awakens. Like, that opening shot when you see Yorktown, it's really pretty spectacular the way it was shot, and you get the entire scope of this massive structure and like just how immense and like cool it is. I was really impressed, and Justin Lin, I'll tell you what, Fast Five, the one in Brazil, that's my favorite one of them all. So, I think he's a decent action director. The action was a little quick sometimes, but you got to get used to it. We're not going to get fucking Die Hard anymore. We're not going to get that kind of action anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the scope of the film. Really, I mean, because as Abe was mentioning, it did feel, and they kind of joke about it, episodic in the very beginning, and how it just opened up this universe though so well. introduced to some different aliens and just different perspectives of scenery and settings and things like that. Even on the planet that they end up on, there was just so many different areas of that planet. Inside the old ship and inside the complex, where everyone's being held.
Oh, you're absolutely right, man. On paper, this didn't need to cost $180 million.
Right.
Yeah, but you're right. Lynn really used it, though. He used it to his advantage, showing us all these different things like you're talking about.
Crazy though, for a movie of this size, 150, 180 million is not even considered a lot anymore. So I mean, the fact that they spent only 150 million when they only open at 60, it's not that big a blow. So if they want to keep making these movies on this kind of scale, I think they'll be a lot more successful.
It could be.
How's this movie playing overseas?
It's not.
Yeah.
What did
Really?
I just in England? It lost to BFG. Yeah.
I think I saw a trailer actually when I was out in London. People seem a lot more excited for that. And the trailer that I saw there for that movie was better than any trailer I saw over here for that movie. So I think they might have marketed it better over in Europe. But I mean, for this movie, I thought it worked as a very good Star Trek episode. It was a not good or bad, not saying that in good or bad way, but it was a good 2-hour show. It was not a big epic end of the world type movie which is good because a lot of those get boring.
Yeah, thank God. We didn't need another, we didn't need Earth under threat again. Yeah.
Right.
And I like the character stuff. The first two movies were a lot of heavy, just Kirk and Spock. So I think this movie they were able to break away and have 3 or 4 of the other characters, working together, like Dan said, with Spock and the Doc. I thought that was probably the best stuff. You had Uhura and Zulu working together. You had Kirk, and with sadly the passing of I forget the actor's name right now, but he was really good in it as well. So you had
Anton
Yelchin, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean he was really good in it as well, and he was with Kirk for most of the movie. So they were able to do different things and kind of just make a smaller, more intimate movie with with also the big special effects and stuff like that. But I think it worked on the character level a lot better than most of these kind of movies.
It did.
Yeah, I agree. Like splitting them up into those little kind of groups, and then again, there's certain themes about this movie. One of them, of course, was the whole working together, being a team.
Right.
And that's kind of demonstrated where no person gets left behind. Like they're gonna make sure that the team sticks together, because only as a team that they can win. But as a part, they have to form these little teams to be able to accomplish the goals that they need to as well. And even when everything that Spock and Bones have been through is just like, who's going to fly this ship? Well, let's pair these guys up. It worked so well. It was such a funny pairing. It's not like it's not like a pure animosity to one another.
Oh no.
But
no.
there's those quote unquote negative feelings between them that really makes it a funny buddy sequence. I think overall I was concerned about Simon Pegg writing a Star Trek film. I was very concerned about it. He did a good job.
He did a great job. Yeah,
I have to admit.
He got Star Trek better than Orsi and Kurtzman did. That's for sure. He has those nice little touches. I mean, the stupid little jokes like, that opening scene where Kirk gets beamed up after being attacked, and he says, I tore my shirt again. I love that. That's just nice little touches.
That sequence was great. Sorry to cut
Oh, no,
you
go
off,
ahead.
but that sequence was great, I thought. When you hear it, he's introducing it and how they were on, they're in like their 3rd year in space, and you see the interactions between a crew. I thought that was really well done. Mm-hmm. It really laid you a lot of backdrop in 2 minutes, which was really was cool. It was nice.
Yeah.
And it really just foreshadowed and set up the whole Idris Elba storyline like perfectly. And we'll get into that in a bit. But even the whole sequence before his shirt gets torn felt very much like the 60s Star Trek. Like the little creatures attacking him, and it's fighting these little creatures off of him. It felt like not campy per se, but like an homage to that, like a direct kind of you know, look at what they probably would have done in the '60s of having these little critters attacking.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Kirk.
Yeah.
I'm not a big. I've watched these last 3 Star Trek movies. I've enjoyed them, so I'm not a huge. But I'm not obviously more of a Star Wars fan. One question. This might be a little spoilery, but does the Enterprise always blow up? Because this is like, I think in every one, the last 2 at least, the Enterprise is blown up, and this one happened pretty early.
The Enterprise gets effed up a lot. That's for sure.
Okay.
But
I know they're always under attack, but like this is twice now where it's completely.
One of the things I've been impressed about, especially in this movie, is it shows the Federation is actually capable of engineering some tough ships. Khan, I know Khan in Star Trek II knew exactly where to hit the Enterprise, but we're talking like 5 phaser shots. Enterprise done. This ship takes a fucking pounding.
Yeah,
and they
barely
almost
holding on.
Yeah, and they almost get to warp and get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I was pretty impressed.
I don't know if this is going to be just a constant theme with these movies now, just always building a new ship. But it's just like I said, it's the first thing, and it's one of the things I noticed. Like, well, it's kind of happens. We don't see the Millennium Falcon getting destroyed and rebuilt the same way every Star Wars movie.
No, you don't. But one thing that this movie lacks that the older Star Trek didn't lack. They didn't make the Enterprise a character. They still haven't accomplished that. I mean, they fetishized the Enterprise in those earlier movies. It is as much a character as the crew.
Yeah, in a way, the other ship became more of a character. What was the name of that ship? The one that they end up reviving and flying.
Oh yes. Oh shit.
Is it the Excelsior? Is that the second one? That was the one that got blown up in the second one, right? Didn't Khan blow that up? I remember the Klingon ship they had for a couple of movies, 3 and 4, right?
Oh, you're talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about this film.
I was talking about the old one.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking about the film, the ship that they Elba's
Franklin.
Franklin. That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was more of a character, more so than the Enterprise.
Right. Well, because that is the mystery's enshrouded with that ship. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Which great touch. Elba flying and sees the ship, and he's like, it's like a good to see you, old friend, or something like that. And it's just like completely. I mean, that was the key for me. That was like, oh shit, he was from that ship.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, they shouldn't be watching if they don't want spoilers. And I got to say, if you're a Star Trek nerd, those Franklin uniforms look like updated versions of the Earth Starfleet jumpsuits. Very well done. Very well done to reference Enterprise like that. And then to say the Xindi Wars. Nice touch, guys. Referencing Enterprise again.
So there was a big to-do kind of about the Sulu character being gay. Anyone have any issues with how they did that in this film?
I mean, I didn't care. I was a little. It seemed too easy. That it seems like they only did it because George Takei was gay, and then you found out that George Takei didn't want him to do it. So on that level, I was kind of I was like, oh, well, why are you doing it then? And then if they had just done it in the movie and never said anything going into it, they'd be like, oh, well, okay, he's gay, whatever, who cares? But it's like they made a big deal about it, and then the fact that it was only 30 seconds of him walking away with a husband, and nothing else after that, it was like, all right, then if you're gonna do it and just make it not a big deal, then make it not a big deal, but don't puff your chirps, make a big release and try to make a statement about something, and then it's not really an issue in the movie. So, but I'm fine. I mean, I think it's better if you're gonna have gay characters, not even address it. Have them like everybody else. That's what we want. But to put out a big release beforehand to make a big deal about it, and then try to get points that way, I didn't really like.
Yeah, I thought in the film itself, like, it was like you said, like if they didn't talk about it beforehand, it would have been like, oh yeah, because it worked. The one scene, where they sees the daughter, puts his arm around the guy, and they walk off. It's like, oh, all right. There you go. But like knowing that, like not anticipating, but knowing that it was, you're just like, it's like when it happened, you kind of like do a little bit of an eye roll. It's like, oh, there it is.
It definitely took you out of the movie.
It took away. It took away from it. And otherwise, it was subtle. Like it was such a subtle scene that they made unsubtle by kind of addressing it beforehand, and
Yeah.
that's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
Any of the other characters? Did any characters not work for you in the movie, Sean? Is there any characters that you felt just
This might sound bad because I think he's a great actor. I don't think Idris Elba had that much to do in the movie, to be honest. Yeah, he was the main bad guy. He wasn't on screen all that much. I thought, comparing, like I said, I didn't see the second one, but I thought Eric Bana was a lot better and more dynamic in the '09 Trek than Idris Elba. So I thought he was a little weak, and I thought the he didn't seem to have the swarm that they had of those ships and stuff, which I thought was really cool. I thought that was the main bad guy for me. Like and it's not his fault. I just thought that his character wasn't written that great. Yeah, the backstory and stuff, but they did it. You just see the old footage of him as like being a dude, and then I guess he turned into this Cenobite almost like Clive Barker, Hellraiser type guy, but he was probably to me the weakest of the character, and it's not his fault, but
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The backstory they have, you can't reveal it until the very end,
right?
Yeah.
and there really isn't a whole lot to do with him. He's just
Yeah, and I think the whole backstory thing, the whole character, was to play off of Kirk's mindset of where Kirk's going.
right.
In the beginning, he's lamenting about how everything is episodic and how the universe just is endless and how they're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, and how he's just kind of almost, sick of it all, like done with it all. And Elba, not the exact same reasoning, but he becomes kind of, against what they're doing as well. And that was the whole, the playing off each other, and trying to show how similar they are. I think that that version of the character of Idris's character, was it Crawl, right? Crawl was
Yeah.
I think that version, when he starts to show his backstory, becomes more of a good character at that point.
Right.
But prior to that, you can't reveal it. You can't really develop it, which, I think it hurt the character as well. Everyone on the Jayla bandwagon?
Well, she was
Yes.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
I hope they bring her back. I mean, they've had a couple of movies now where they have a female lead that just isn't back for the next one, but I hope she, they had her joining the crew at the end, so I think she can be someone that's be good in movies to come.
Yeah, that I'm totally down with that too. Yeah. And she's joining Starfleet, so it might be a little while.
Yeah, there's a lot of people saying that there was a lot of similarities between her character and, of course, the main character from The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I can see that.
Both
They-
have a staff. They both live in a ship
Yeah.
that you know.
Well, I think
They're
they have similar
scavengers.
producers. So
Yeah.
Jayla wasn't perfect at every damn thing she did, though. I mean, she needed Scotty's help.
Yeah. Well, she did a lot. She got
she
the
did a lot,
music
yeah.
working. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what did you guys think of that scene? That was like the first trailer came out with that Beastie Boys song, and everyone was like kind of grown. But then how that played into the movie? Did anyone?
It worked in the film. I liked it.
Yeah.
I really thought it worked well in the film.
When they ask if that's classical music,
Yeah.
perfect. I mean, the one thing I never liked about Star Trek, especially the more Picard times, is they only like Shakespeare. They only listen to classical music. That's it. I like the fact that they're opening up a bit, that Kirk might like old rock and roll. Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. So yeah, no, I think the Jayla character was cool, and I like I like the first scene where she kind of shows up and utilizes like all those different holograms of herself. I think that was a really cool touch, and how I don't know how she knew that.
Was that ever explained? I don't know.
No.
I don't know how she used that technology, but it was pretty awesome that she knew it.
It does seem a little ahead of the Federation technology at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Considering
was almost a little too mutant, like an X-Men type of thing. That was a little weird.
especially because she was held captive and she had to escape. Her dad had to die for her to escape, and She's like, yeah, I'm gonna work on fixing up a ship and doing holograms. You know.
Well, then she had the hologram, but of course, Kirk has to jump on the old school motorcycle to save the day too. So
They actually found a way to put that in the film semi-organically. They didn't just, it wasn't as cringy as I was afraid it was going to be.
It really, all of the fears that we had in the trailer, they explained it away in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, the Beastie Boys, the motorcycle thing is like, come on, Justin Lin, they did a good job of explaining it away in the film. I think it worked. Just so surprised.
It was too.
Surprised that like Simon Pegg wrote this.
Man, I told you, I went and watched World's End before this because I feel like Simon Pegg was onto something, at least understanding Star Trek. Because I still feel like World's End is one of the most gloriously delicious anti-Star Trek movies of all time. The way it just kind of gives a middle finger to this beautiful confederation of peaceful planets, and Earth's like, fuck you, we're too messy, we're not joining. It's perfect anti-Star Trek. So I think he had the vibe. I was a lot less worried about it than you were.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And I like Simon Pegg in general. I like him. I just,
Yes.
I think the only worry was that it kept getting delayed and it kept changing writers and directors, and so like whenever that happens, you start worrying about are people bailing on a franchise and stuff.
You
like
know,
that.
oddly enough, the actor they brought in to do the reshoots was a Commodore Paris. In the Starbase, you remember the lady that was yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
was
what? That was the reshoot? I was thinking it was something else, but
yeah, it was not to say that it was insignificant. I guess it was needed, but it wasn't like
That's the other thing with this movie. These movies, like the stakes are never that great. I mean, like he says he's going to quit to be some kind of office administrator. It's like, come on, we know it's not happening. Even the last movie when he died, like, all right, we know he's not going to die.
Well, he did it, but I mean, Kirk did it. Kirk did quit for a desk job. That's not not out of the realm of possible. It's not impossible.
When you've already announced that the fourth movie is already being announced, it's kind of hard to have people buy that, I suppose.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. They could have announced that he was going to be in Justice League and then kill him.
He is going to be in Wonder Woman, so
he is. See, we tied that all back together.
See if they can mess with the timelines there and get a really weird shared universe somehow.
That's the rumor, and I think we might be talking about it on the debate show, but that's the rumors that they're going to reinstitute the Prime timeline in this fourth movie. They're going to get rid of New Trek.
Well, they said Hemsworth is going to be back for it, and he played, I guess, his father in the first.
Yes. And he was there at that at the exact moment the timeline was delineated. Yeah.
I wouldn't blow this up yet. I think they got something good going.
It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do if they can pull it off. The box office is a little shaky. Got to wait for China.
These movies have never made huge money though.
But they're getting worse each time. This is the lowest of any of the Star Trek movies now.
Wow.
Of the new
ones. Yeah.
It won't do much better either. With this week, you got what the hell? I know next week is Suicide Squad. This week has a big one too, though. I forget what it is. Fuck. Oh. But still, I don't see it having a much bigger audience going forward.
While you're doing that, I do want to point out the toast that Bones and Kirk gave each other on Kirk's birthday was to perfect eyesight and a full head of hair. I think that was definitely a shot at Shatner needing glasses in Star Trek 2 and wearing a toupee.
Oh, it's good stuff.
I like that. There's a lot of little moments too for the Star Trek faithful. There's a Stargazer drop in there, which was Picard's first ship. Might be a little too early to be the same ship Picard had, but it's a nice little drop.
Did you care that they showed the picture of the original cast at the end there?
I like that.
I really like that too. Yeah,
I thought that was good. Because again, the whole big theme about it was working together as a team and having this camaraderie, and it kind of played on that original, because that was a huge theme of the original as well. It kind of ties back to that, and it's a nice homage to the Spock character and how much he meant to that team as well. I think it works. I'm looking at on Twitter. Our friend Amanda, can't wait to watch. I'm expecting an in-depth discussion on uniform styling and NX class hull plate polarization. So Abe,
Abe brought up the uniforms.
you
I
brought
brought
up
up
the
the uniforms.
uniform.
Yeah, they are dropping the same bombs that they used in Enterprise. They didn't have shields; they had to polarize the hull plating. You can clearly tell that Peg has a lot of respect for Star Trek, much more than we've ever seen before. Oh my god! And just a quick aside, just because I want to see more of it. That fucking warp field, for the first time in any movie, we actually got a really cool, warp drive, hyper warp, whatever. I mean, Star Wars doesn't, it's kind of lame. Star Trek has always been kind of lame, but that warp drive really gives you a sense of how fast these ships are moving through the stars. I love it. I love that warp drive effect.
Yeah, no, it was a good looking film.
Yeah.
It was just I didn't see it in 3D, thankfully. I hate I can't stand 3D, and actually,
The first part was too dark, like we said earlier. But after that, I thought it was well put. And the other movie coming out this week that'll kill it is Jason Bourne. So that's
yeah, which I've heard is really good, by the way. I've heard.
I
Really
never loved those, but it looks, people are very happy to see that he's back. So
I don't know. I've heard really good things about it, but
They know how they know how to do car chases. Greengrass knows how to do a car chase. So, and this looks like it has a great one too.
Jamil wants to know why you guys are surprised by Peg.
Well,
I'm surprised by Peg being able to do writing that isn't just pure joking around. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, I was surprised that he was able to somewhat salvage this film, because I mean you had Orchie's grimy hands in it from the beginning, and having to wipe clean all that garbage and redo it, and being able to put together a good film. Like, I don't know. What about you, Sean? You were about to talk. I talked over you. My bad.
no, I'm not a huge Simon Pegg fan. I find Shaun of the Dead extremely overrated. My Name is Sean, and fucking Romero's Dawn of the Dead's my second favorite movie of all time. I just find it extremely overrated. I don't get all the love for it. I thought The World's End was a good flick until the aliens came in. I thought it would have been better as a comedy just about a fucking asshole that never grew up, and left it like that. But, the whole alien shit I didn't really love. And Hot Fuzz I don't remember too much. So
I like Hot Fuzz a lot.
So I'm not a huge,
And
fan
you
of...
don't like Spaced either, do you?
It's okay. I mean,
You're fucking dead to me.
won't be the first time or the last person I'm dead to anyway. Who cares? But I was impressed. He seems to have more of a love for Star Trek than I think he did for Romero Zombies. Maybe I'm a little protective of Romero Zombies, but I just didn't think it worked so much as a comedy type of thing. But I was impressed with his, the way he handled this flick.
Yeah, I mean, and again, between Peg and Justin Lin, it wasn't like screaming for me as, oh, this is going to be a movie that I want to see.
Really
it just sounds like a weird pairing. It's
Yeah, and you're right. I wasn't really sure how strapping GoPros to the Enterprise was going to work, but it worked.
Yeah, and I just I'll say it. I'm a huge Zachary Quinto fan. I love Zachary Quinto, and I really like Chris Pine, and I'm looking forward to seeing Chris Pine in Wonder Woman. I like him as an actor, and I want to see him kind of do more stuff outside of Star Trek. And I've always liked Zachary Quinto. Back from his Heroes days, he was the reason to watch Heroes.
That reason dried up pretty quick, though.
It did. No, as long as I did, Zachary Quinto was the reason to watch it. I think he did a hell of a job on it.
And so, you're right, though. I mean, those are two great actors. And once again, Carl Urban, I don't know how he's doing it. He's not mimicking.
Amazing.
But he's just like channeling the spirit of McCoy.
So good.
Wow.
Great way to put it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good way to put it.
I like him a lot too.
He's been good in all three of these too. This is the first time he got more of a lead role, just not with the first two. I think he was just only with Kirk.
Right.
Mhm.
And this time, when you got to see him with Spock, I think it added a level to his character, which people seem to be enjoying.
Mm-hmm. The balance between all these characters who nobody in their right mind would make any kind of action movie with all these characters. But this was the movie that hit the balance so well, so perfectly between all of them.
And again, I didn't feel forced that
No.
a female character was so front and center either, or multiple female characters were kind of so. It didn't feel forced to me that they were like, oh, let's put a female character as one of the mains. You know, a lot of films it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. With this, like, you know, it was just like, okay, this works. This works for me.
Yeah, it's amazing what a little clever writing can do for you instead of just just shoehorning stuff in because you want to score some social justice points.
Well, I mean, as bad as as not of a fan as I thought Peg was before, he's still better than Orsi and Kurtzman and those fucking typists. So, you know, you already had
Typists.
that going for you. Is a little bit better.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't know how J.J. Abrams can look at his cronies and say, you know, it's like, what have I done? You know, I mean, at least, you know, Lindelof is kind of, and Carlton Hughes, at least they've kind of carved their own careers away from J.J. and they've done stuff outside of that, you know, bad robot universe on their own. But Orchie and Kirkman, they just seem like, you know, they're going to ride the coattails, ride that name of J.J. Abrams as long as they can and just spout off their insanity. Orchie's the really crazy one, right?
Yeah, he's the truther, or the 9/11 truther, and
Yeah,
all that conspiracy nut.
But
yeah,
you know what?
You saw that in Into Darkness.
But you know what? You would think a fucking truther or a conspiracy nut, he'd fucking write something that was interesting.
Something creative, at least. Yeah. Nothing that's bland or generic.
Yeah.
Any other comments that we got coming in? Any other?
Not really.
Jamil liked it though, right?
Jamil liked it. Yeah.
Jamil liked it.
Jamil
Jamil
liked
liked everything. He almost liked Ghostbusters, for fuck's sake.
it. Shots fired.
When can we get
I
these
still-
two guys
I
on the
still owe-
debate show?
Yeah.
I still owe him money. I got to send him $20 from.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yes. Oh, Jamil did chime in with us when we were talking about, you know, organically inserting strong women characters versus just shoehorning them in. Jamil just said Ghostbusters. That's all he said.
Does this movie make that chick? I had to look it up because I'm watching the movie today. I'm like, that girl, the person that's playing it looks so familiar. You see, like the cleft chin. I'm like, looks so familiar. Who is it? And then it was the chick from Kingsman. Does this make her a star? Because there's a really good performance there. You know, she just wasn't like the sidekick bad, you know, chick. She had a lot of heart in that character.
Yeah,
I don't know about star, but she'll definitely get to keep. You know, they'll keep putting her in movies. I think in Kingman she was good too, but she didn't have much speaking.
No.
And then you put her in this one, and she's in a lot of makeup, so it's, you know, you're still gonna have to put her in something where the two of those things go together. You know, no makeup and speaking.
She will be starring with one Thomas Cruise in The Mummy.
That universe.
It's gonna...
I saw Did you see the preview in Star Trek for his new one, Jack Reacher 2?
I still didn't see the first Jack Reacher.
I didn't see the first one either, but it's just any other Tom Cruise movie, basically. It's just he's just kicking someone's ass and being Tom Cruise.
I was a fan of the first Jack Reacher. I thought it was well done, and I saw actually the preview today, and the preview looks pretty entertaining.
The source content is good, though.
Yeah, they're always fun. I mean, they're always
well,
fun Tom Cruise movies. They're just always a fun Tom Cruise movie.
My father-in-law enjoys the books a lot, and the funny thing though is in the books, I think Jack Reacher's like 6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah,
I read one. I read Killing Floor, which was good.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's like
this bruiser kind of badass guy, and it's like, yeah, let's put the 5'4" guy in there.
so was Lestat apparently too.
Yeah.
But you know.
I guess start wrapping up. Some final thoughts on Star Trek Beyond. We'll start with Marty. What are your final thoughts? And do you want to see another one of these?
Definitely. I've seen, like I said, I'm not a huge Star Trek fan. I didn't really watch a lot of the old shows or movies, but I've enjoyed these three. Not so much the second one, like you guys mentioned, but this one seems to have got them back on track. And if they're going to live on this not lower budget movie, but if they live in that $100 million movie making process, and they just strive for smaller character driven movies, I think they'll do well.
Shaun, was it worth you being dragged out to the movies?
Yeah,
to see?
yeah, it was. It was entertaining. I liked that it was more about the characters than the special effects. A lot of it, even though, like I said, the original shot of the Yorktown blew me away, and then at the end when they're almost without gravity, maybe is that the best way to say it, above Yorktown was pretty. I have heights issues, so it was pretty cool.
Abe, what's the buzz around the Star Trek community and then the fans? Are they generally digging it?
Oh yeah, they're generally digging it a lot. I think the vibe is the original series has Wrath of Khan, Next Generation has First Contact, New Trek has Beyond.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
take that.
I think so.
I think some apt comparisons there, and yeah, I honestly do. I look forward to another one of these. I hope they can capture the same magic that this one had. I think I mentioned to you the last one I saw in theaters was First Contact, I think.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've seen a Star Trek film actually in theaters, and yeah, I'm glad I did it. Enjoyed it a lot. If even if you're not a Star Trek fan, if you've seen it, seen any of the new ones, I think you really like this. I think if you're just a fan of action or sci-fi, I think you get into it. I don't think you need a huge Star Trek knowledge base to enjoy it. I think if you do have that knowledge base, you'll thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think you'll pick up on a lot of the other jokes and things that I do have to say though, there was more laughs in the theater for Star Trek Beyond than there were in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, there was
That
actually
is a low bar. That is a low bar to reach.
there was a lot of people in the theater too. For Star Trek. To be fair,
So,
a lot more people.
I was telling you, I always gauge of how many people are at my theater on opening night of because again, that's the crappiest theater in the world. I love it. It's so endearing. I absolutely love it. But Star Trek Beyond beat out Ghostbusters. Yeah, it hasn't been the biggest crowd that I've been at that theater, because this past weekend I took my daughter to go see Secret Life of Pets, and that was actually a full theater. So
That's making a lot of money, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
killing at the box
It
office.
is.
Yeah, every cartoon has made ridiculous money this summer.
and I really enjoyed it. Maybe I should just do a little review of it, post it on the site, talk about how my daughter enjoyed it as well, because
She's the target audience. Yeah.
she is just target audience.
Right.
She sat through the whole thing, which I mean,
Good
that's,
praise.
That's great praise.
I've been to a Mets game with your daughter. She does not sit still for much. So.
That was about 2 years ago, Marty. 2 years ago. She was literally just learning how to run at the time. She was not going to sit still. Yeah, we'll try. I think she enjoy Mets game a little bit more of this, and as long as it's not like 200 degrees like the last game we
Yes.
tried to go to.
That was best seats we ever had. We couldn't sit in them.
I mean, yeah, we sat in them for like half an inning. It's like, all right, it's 105 degrees. Let's go inside. All right, let's wrap up here. Thank you everyone for watching the Movies and Stuff show. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know your thoughts on Star Trek Beyond or any of the other topics that we covered today. Please like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Movie Stuff Show. See our great tweets that this guy Martin puts out for us regularly. Let's see what else we got. Debate show
Thursday. Yep.
Thursday.
Dan is making his triumphant return to the debate show. It's been a long time.
It has been. It's been
A
like,
long time. Yeah.
but Tom's on it as well, right?
You, Tom, and Mr. Jack Random.
Okay, so if Tom's on, I'm still one show behind him, right?
That's right. Tom is the all-time
He's
appearance
the
leader.
all-time-
Yes.
Yeah. Marty's gonna get there. I think Marty, by the end of it, I think Marty's gonna have the most appearances on the debate show.
I think so.
I'm
This is gonna
the
happen.
lead call guy. I've
Yeah.
called in the most.
You have called in the most, but I think the debate show is built for Marty.
Yes. The debate show. The debate show is good for assholes. I agree.
That is painful. That is and unnecessary, but I thank you.
Got the Bait Show coming up Thursday, next Monday. Make sure, also make sure to check out Veggie Lasagnas in reruns as well. They just put out an episode yesterday. I talked about the show, the HBO show, the night of.
Very good show so far, too.
So they're talking about the night of. So make sure to check out Veggie Lasagna. They're fun guys, and they'll be back again with a brand new episode next Monday. We will be back next Tuesday. We have just decided we're going to recruit 2 more people to join us for another roundtable. We like these roundtables a lot.
Yeah, they are fun. Yeah.
We're actually going to talk about The Killing Joke next week. Brand new Batman animated movie.
A lot of controversy.
A lot of controversy. So we'll drag 2 more people on to a roundtable that with us next Tuesday. So that's what we're going to do then. Until then, guys, final words.
I'm not an asshole.
Yes. How can you say that? How can you say no? I'm not an asshole.
Because Mark Hamill liked me. So.
That's true.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.